This is Unit 4 review for listener geometry. This is the second review we're doing. And in this video, I'm going to go over numbers 3, 4, 5, and 6. In number 3, they ask us to find the value of x in this parallelogram below. Now, you don't always have to do the arrows, but I get used to doing that because it is a parallelogram. And remember, in the parallelogram, the consecutive angles added up to 180, they were supplementary. The opposite angles were congruent. So for our equation, we would just set up 4x plus 18 equals that opposite angle 134 and solve that for x. So if I put it over here, 4x plus 18 equals 134, I'm going to subtract 18. 4x equals 116. Divide by 4, and that's going to go 29 times. So there is my value for x. In number 4, they ask us to find the area of the parallelogram. And remember that the area for the parallelogram is base times height. And remember that for the base and the height, to find the base and height, we're always looking for the right angle. We need to see that there's a right angle happening with the base and height together. And we see that right here. There's the right angle, which means this is going to be my height, this is going to be my base. Now there's nothing down here, but remember with parallelograms, the opposite sides are equal. So if this is a 5 up here, this is a 5 here. Notice I don't need the 7 because that's not making a right angle with anything. Get rid of that. So for the base times height, all I'm doing is taking 4. The height is 4. I should have put that. Let me get that. 5 times 4. 5 is the base, 4 is the height. Multiply those, and you get 20. For numbers 5 and 6, we're dealing with the facts about all these different quadrilaterals we've been dealing with. For number 5, quadrilateral PQRS has perpendicular diagonals PR and QS. The quadrilateral could be blank. Choose all that apply. So our options are square, rhombus, parallelogram, rectangle. Now if I draw the square, first of all we have to know what the diagonals are, and we have to know what perpendicular means. Now the diagonals are these two lines that we draw through the middle that connect to the opposite vertices. And in the square, remember in the square all of these are right angles, all the sides are equal, but in the middle you do have right angles happening there. That does make them perpendicular. So the square does work, it does have perpendicular diagonals. For the rhombus has 4 equal sides. If I connect those diagonals, the rhombus, that did happen also. You did have right angles happening at those diagonals, so the rhombus worked. Now the parallelogram, if you drew the parallelogram, I'm drawing kind of a longer one here. When I look at these angles in the inside, the diagonals intersect, but these are definitely not right angles. You have a big obtuse angle here, you have smaller acute angles there, so that does not work for the parallelogram. They have the diagonals, but not perpendicular. For the rectangle, the same thing is going to happen as what happened on the parallelogram. The difference is that you have the right angles on the corners. But if I draw those diagonals, yeah, whoa, that's not okay. Same thing happens, there's no right angle, that's obtuse, left and right are acute, so it does not work for the rectangles. It only works for the square and the rhombus. For number 6, quadrilateral PQRS has diagonals PR and QS, so we're dealing with the same idea about the diagonals. It has 2 pairs of parallel sides. The quadrilateral could be. Now the 2 pairs of parallel sides, if I look at the parallelogram, there's 1 pair top and bottom, and there's a second pair left and right. That's 2 pairs, so it does definitely work for the parallelogram. Now remember that whatever the parallelogram had, everything in that diagram underneath it had it also. Now everything that came after the parallelogram was the rectangle, the rhombus, the square. So all of these, rectangle has 2 pairs of parallel sides, the rhombus has 2 pairs, top and bottom, left and right, the square has 2 pairs, top and bottom, left and right, square, rhombus, rectangle. The only ones that don't work, wow, you can't even see me circling those. The only thing that doesn't work is the trapezoid. The trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides, but the second pair left and right aren't going to be parallel. If we kept drawing them, they would connect up here somewhere. So that's not going to work. The kite, and we haven't dealt with the kite a whole lot, but the kite, if you draw a kite, the kite actually doesn't have any sides that are parallel. There's not one pair of parallel sides in the kite. So the ones that do work are the square, rhombus, parallelogram, and rectangle.